Today we are having some fun before the 4th of July. We have Courtney Johnson here to tell us about some great recipes that we can make for this time of year, incorporating the red, white, and blue. How are you doing today, Courtney?
I'm doing great. A couple things that I already have here. I've already this will be in the add-ons that we add as links. So this is going to be a red, white, and blue chicken salad. So kind of a take on sometimes chicken salad will have cranberries in there. I did dried blueberries, and then there's some red onion in there, finely chopped, as well as 2 of the little red bell peppers. And then I used some poultry seasoning in there and some walnuts, so it's got a nice fresh taste. And then I put it in the lettuce cups. I love eating things this way, especially if you're like lower carb or you're just having a heavier meal and you want to start with an appetizer. This could obviously go in wraps, it could go on wheat bread, it could go in croissants. So it's a great thing to have on hand to have around during the week, and it's red, white, and blue. So another thing that we're going to do is we're doing these red, white, and blue like a steakhouse style pinwheel. So if you want to start adding in that roast beef that I already have cut up,
sure.
And that is one of these peppers, and I get these from Menards, and I really like these. So this was a whole half pepper in there, and it was a nice red one, so it was right on our theme. So I'm going to let you start folding that in there, and then we're going to do, this is a half a container of blue cheese. Blue cheese isn't for everyone. I've got some pretty polarizing flavors in here today, but you know, you've got that steak and blue cheese thing going on. And then for the sake of television, I think I have my measurements at home, what I actually did. So I'm going to go with a teaspoon, or let's see, this is a tablespoon and a half of Worcestershire sauce, so you get that steakhouse flavor in there. And then my sister and I were talking, I was running this by her last night, I'm like, what do you think of a little horseradish? So that's kind of common in steakhouse, so this is 1 teaspoon of horseradish, and we'll get that in there.
Perfect.
Love those little sliding spoons.
Yeah,
and
that's
then I'm going to
handy.
go back, and we're going to go to a tablespoon of minced onion. Now, ideally, in a perfect world, you're going to let this sit so everything kind of marinates, kind of gets in it together. But for the sake of television, and for learning.
You get the idea.
Yeah, you get the idea. So then we are going to just add also, I did just a tablespoon of whipping cream, just to make this just all the more spreadable, and rinse out that spoon. And then the last thing I'm going to do here is just kind of to the eye, just a little sprinkle of garlic salt. I'll just put that over the top. That ought to work. So just fold, fold, fold. And then what we're going to do here is, I'm going to get you out a wrap. Get all our stuff to the side as soon as that's spread around. So what we're going to do is, there's 2 ways that you can technically do this. Now we're going to do ours kind of wide. Otherwise you end up with huge, huge fat pinwheels, but these are really nice. I love this product, kind of lower in carbs. So what you're going to do, now that seems pretty mixed up pretty well. You can just bang that spoon off. And then what you can do is start, you know, getting on here, and you're going to leave just right on this edge here, leave that dry, and it will roll it up.
Okay, yeah. So
And just from here down, just start filling that up with the mixture and spreading it around. So you can find this time of year the little 4th of July style picks. And so over there, as far as the Rice Krispies go, I just like to do little variations of things. So what I did for the 4th was I did a strawberries and cream variation, and I have my ratios in here. Like that'll be included in that link as well. And what I did was I went up on my vanilla, and I melted down all my marshmallows and my butter, and then added the vanilla in, and I had a little bit of cream cheese extract in there. And I poured the melted butter and marshmallow mixture over, and then I added a bag of dried strawberries and started to fold those in. And then I started to fold in a package of strawberry Pop Rocks. So you can just take what you've got and just spread it all around now. Yep.
Okay. I wasn't sure if I had too much or too little.
It'll make more than 1 roll, depending on, you know, how you thin it out. So just, spread that around like a frosting.
Okay.
And then I added some seasonal sprinkles, and just kind of got ribbons of that flavor in there, and then I actually finished it off on top. So you've kind of got a strawberries and cream with a little sizzle of the Pop Rock. So that's kind of fun for the 4th of July.
Yeah, a little firecracker in your mouth.
Exactly, yeah. So what I'll help you finish up here real quick, just so we get it around evenly. So you kind of want to get that to the edge, pull that down there, and that'll keep that pinwheel closed. Leave a little free edge here. And then what you're going to do is roll. So I'll let you roll and pull back and roll and pull back so you can make your little pinwheel. And you've got your knife there on the right, and then you can just slice it into about like 1-inch pieces. And then we'll just leave them right on here, and people can go right off the plate. Perfect.
All right, so just that's about how thick you want?
That's perfect.
Okay.
And then what I do is typically I would let this chill, these tubes.
Okay.
I would let that tube chill for an hour or so. I wrap them in plastic wrap, and they're easier to cut, but for the sake of television, this works just fine. So those are some of my red, white, and blue variations.
Excellent, yeah, thank you so much. It looks definitely like a nice, especially because they're cool, you know, they're not like hot meals, a nice refreshing summer
Yeah,
day
I think
kind of
and I think this is going to be something I'm actually going to try and point out to everybody. I've been volunteering at the VA, and like sometimes I go to volunteer and we can't follow through on what we were going to do because there isn't enough people. And so I teach cooking down there in this character in the Mama Court sort of entrepreneurial thing. But it's a really great place for people to go if you have a talent. Even if you paint and you don't have a lot to say, you can, if you get signed up as a volunteer, you can go into memory care and just paint, and they'll just watch you, and it makes such a difference.
Yeah,
so I have to say
definitely.
that for Valentine's Day to get people thinking about volunteering and to give back. It does a lot. It does as much for them as it does for you. There's so many things in the UP to participate in. So yeah, so these are our pinwheels, and if you want to sample,
we'll enjoy that, and we'll have all the links for you on our website, myupnow.com. Courtney, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Yes,
take a bite.
Thank you. Yeah.
Very good. We'll have those links on myupnow.com. Stay with us, and we'll be right back after the break.